All right, all praise be to Yahweh, Bashem Shah, Bashem Kakadash, the honors to the apostles and elder bishops over the great millstone churches. And salutations to the rest of you elders and Akim, also of these same branches hold forth this true word for true life and all true faith and sincerity. So just coming back with another lesson with the Hebrew Israelites, I just want to pretty much touch on the series I pretty much do, which deals with the end of all things. Some good news, which is good news, which is to be good news to us believers that are hastening the day of the return of the Messiah, praying to see the fall of our enemies, and ultimately the end of this wicked kingdom, all right, ran by the so-called white man, which is going to be seen by, a slew of ways, a slew of different events, from these people being divided, but simply to his infrastructure crumbling, in the midst and in between of all of that, and at times where it's a response to that, these people being divided. So you see that with all these staples that used to be coming to an end, a closure of America. It's just jumping into it. Denny's completing planned closures of 150 restaurants by year's end. So the Lord told us the end of all things is at hand, man. This world has lost its youth. Believe not the incredulity of them that trouble thee, meaning those that don't believe America's going to come to an end, that don't believe this doctrine of, the Hebrew Israelites, specifically of the GMS Church, the Great Millstone Church, starting with the elder apostles on down. All right, and we won't, because we're seeing the proof of it. They're knowing that a prophet has been amongst them, so forth and so on. This place is coming into an end, man. All right, this is biblical prophecy playing out before your eyes. So I'm going to just read a little bit of the article. It says about 150 underperforming. Matter of fact, let's go here. I'm going to read this one. Denny's to close 150 restaurants. Here's why. Denny plans to close approximately 150 underperforming restaurants in the United States by the end of 2025 as a part of significant restructuring effort to declining sales. And this is, so let me just read the rest. It says, that's basically it. It says, their things not the same no more. Basically, they're not making the same money anymore. People not showing the same interest, to where the business is deteriorating, to where in order for them to damage control, if you will, or however you want to look at it, they're just going to close these pretty much 150 places where money is invested at before they lose it. So they could just stop it where it's at, but before the stock, if you will, continues to drop, they can withdraw, while they're still wherever they may be at. All right. So this place already in a negative, and that's basically it. And it's a part I want to touch on it. This just laid out, and that's what it says. It says, as a part of restructuring effort to decline in sales. So they're trying to do this to stop themselves from losing, but to ultimately what's the word I want to use? Fight back, or to use this as a mechanism to come back, which That's how these so-called white people said to get down. So let's get into a couple scriptures, and then I'm gonna come and get some more specifics. Yeah, let's get this in that the NLT. 1 Peter 4:7. The end of the world, see, is coming soon. Therefore, be earnest and disciplined in your prayers. See that? So the end of the world is coming soon, and we see it, man. All right. When you go into this article on this happening, dealing with the restaurant Denny's, it says it will close by the end of 2025 as the iconic dinner style restaurant chain undergoes a major reconstruction. Now, what I want to jump down to is it says, let's jump down. Let's keep going. Right here at the end. Months before the buyout, CEO, well, I don't want to get that because we need the context to that. But let's read this. Founded in 1953 in Lakewood, California, Denny's is one of America's most recognizable chains. So it's a complete it's up the face of the world of these times of America, right? Is up the face of the world of the so-called white people, of so-called Americans, Denny's. So to see that closing, right, is showing you that because it's a part of this world, it's a fixture of this world, you know, of America, of Americans, that this world is coming to an end, all right? So that's the point I wanted to make on that. It ain't too much more on that, but that's it. It says 1 Peter 4:7. So the end of the world is coming soon. And you see it. Therefore, be earnest and disciplined in your prayers. All right, stuff is just shutting down more and more, man. You know, all types of things in the KJV, but the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. Let's get this scripture. So we bring this out. This is Zephaniah 1:14. Therefore, it says, the great day of Yahweh, Bashmi al-Shah, is near. It is near. And hasted greatly. So what's the day of the Lord? The day of Yahweh, Bashmi al-Shah. What? The end of all things. All right? As it says. All right? That's the talking about the day of Yahweh, Bashmi al-Shah, man. The day of the Lord. All right? Everything is at its completion. I want to read this in the, where is it at? Let's read it. In the NLT, NET, for the 1 Peter 4:7 in the NET, for the culmination of all things is near. So be self-controlled and sober-minded for the sake of prayer. So the culmination of all things is near. That's when we get this. When something is at its culmination, it means it ain't got to as far as this point, you know, it did all it's gonna do, you know, and it's over with for it, you know, the peak of something, you know, and that's this world, you know, and was seen within this restaurant Denny's, you know, it's America, you know, this world of the Americans, of America, of the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, he's when is high as he's gonna go when it comes to pretty much everything. Only thing he got left to reach the pinnacle on is this technology to bring in regards of the MOTB system. So culmination. Bear with me.
Culmination.
The highest or climatic point of something, especially as attained after a long time. So if we go to this article and it tells us that 2025, I mean, well, that's the time we in now, but 1953 is the time when The restaurant Denny's was founded 1953 again. That's a long time. You know, it's been thriving for 72 years if it's 2025. Almost, yeah, that's a spirit, you know. Because when you get to 9, there's no such thing as 10. 7 plus 2, that's 9. 10 is really 1, you know. That's the numerical value. It go 1 through 9. All right? That's how it go. So once you get after past 9, right, so, which is where we at, it's basically in his 72nd year. His ninth is 9. Denny's is at a point, reached a point of his course. With this article dropping, that is, it will be 72 years. Once you ready to go past 9, you just start. Everything starts over. And that ain't to say this place is gonna start over. It's the end. Like that is over with. A new beginning. It goes back to 1. So it go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then it go back to 1. You know, that's how the numerical values in Hebrew work. All right. But nonetheless, so culmination has a synonym which is also what, as you see,
finale.
The finale, the last part of a piece of music, a performance. So this is the last time part, moments you're gonna see restaurants of America, of the zenith of what America is, because they done ran their courses. That's it, man. So that's pretty much my point on all that. So we can come back here. So again, the culmination and the NET for the culmination of all things is near. So be controlled, self-controlled, and sober-minded for the sake of prayer. So let's go ahead and go back here to Zephaniah 1 and 14. The great day of the Lord is near. It is near. It hasted greatly. Even the voice of Yahweh, a voice of the day of Yahweh. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly, because it's the end, it's the culmination of all things. For that day, it says that day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble, a day and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness. And what's desolation? Desolation is when things is brought to nothing. So all things of America will be brought to nothing, because that's the place that the Lord is going to take off the face of the earth. All right, the day of that's the end of the things of this world, and you're starting to see it. See that? So when you go into this, it says what in the Genesis Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, waste places. Matter of fact, that's not the one I want. Where we at? It says wasted cities. You see waste places. All right. So yeah, that's basically the point on that. And then I have one more scripture I want to get. Let me just see if I can find that one more time for you. Get the root word. Yeah, waste of land. See, devastation, ruin. That's it. And you're seeing that. None of these stores, restaurants is going to be open at all. Eventually, at the pinnacle, when the Lord shuts everything down, you're starting to see that piece by piece. All right. We go ahead and close here, Isaiah 47, and these people going to see. Verse 7, and thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever. That's talking about America. Lady Liberty. Right? It says, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither did remember the latter end of it. Yeah, the latter end of your reign, your course, your rulership. You set all these places up, but they all got to go down, despite you having a spirit to rebuild. So I'm going to jump to the point, verse 9. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee, and there for perfection, see completion, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thy enchantments. We just keep reading. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth thy wisdom and thy knowledge. It has perverted thee, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am and none else. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, and right, bad times, right? It says, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth. And that's what's going on with a lot of these food chains and places of business. They don't understand the markets. Like the interest of people's is changing. They trying to keep up with it. They can't. But this is all nothing more than the spirit of the Lord being put on people to where, you know, the enchantments of, America is no longer working. People don't have interest in it anymore. But it says, and thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. See, and that's that word desolation again. So your place is being brought to nothing, of America. Your staples, the core, what makes a person really feel like they're in America and America is winning and America gonna keep going. It's gonna be brought to nothing. They are being brought to nothing. Those places, piece by piece, because America's about to be brought to nothing. So Hebrews 13 and 14. So it says, it's crazy. In the NLT it says, for this world is not our permanent home. See that? We are looking forward to a home yet to come. And the KJV for here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come, because this place is constantly ending. This should make you happy because we live in to see the fall of our enemies, man. All right? So, all praise Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shah. Till next time, Shalom.